my name is Tanya, for those of you that are new here, and I decided to do a quick little video on showing you what I've really been painting lately. I'm really into painting these geode looking mandala circular shapes. To me, I looked up what the mandala meant because I've been really into them lately and I just really want to understand what it was. And it's usually a circular shape that radiates from the inside out, and it usually represents like a sacred space or wholeness, enlightenment. And I wanted to incorporate that somehow into my art because I've been really into healing arts lately and learning about them, especially neurographica. If you know anything about neurographica, I've been learning that I'd say for the last 7 months now and getting my certificates in it. But I also have been really attracted to geodes and it's actually stones in general. I have a bunch of crystals and all sorts of stones. And I've been actually into that since I was a very young girl. But these slices, the geode looking shapes, I'm just fascinated by all the patterns that are in here and just how natural it is and how beautiful Mother Nature can be. So I wanted to incorporate that into my art. So I wanted to show you how I start. And I work normally in watercolors, but I am also an acrylic artist. So I will be doing some acrylics on here as well, but it's mostly watercolors for right now. Oh, and I wanted to show you a finished piece before I get started. And I'm gonna see if I can show this on video. So it's kind of this mandala looking circular shape right here in the middle, and I added a little bit of neurographic art in there as well. And I wanted it to just kind of radiate out into my art and bring in some more shapes in the background and a little bit more neurographica in the background. So I'm just kind of experimenting right now and playing around with this. And I'm going to be framing them as well and selling them at art shows that I'm going to be doing this summer. But I just wanted to show you a quick process of how I make something like this. And I just also posted something on my YouTube page as well, just showing all different, I think I had like 5 or 6 different paintings on there. So if you want to go back and look at that as well, just look at my post. It wasn't a video, it was just a post of some photos. All right, so to get started, I've got my watercolor paper. I'm using a size 12 Grumbacher watercolor brush. You can use any watercolors. I normally use Winsor Newton. These are koi. And then I've got my paper towel and my water. All right, so to get started, I will take my little spray bottle and I like to mist my, my watercolors. Now you can mist your watercolor page as well, but I like to leave the edge here nice and crisp, so I'm not going to do that right now. But I will pick up, let's see. Let's start, I did a pink one over there. Let's start with this color here. It's kind of like a indigo color. And I am going to be cutting this out, so I don't really care about my edges, but I am going to be leaving a little bit of a white border on it as I cut it out. So I do want to leave a little bit on either side here, so I will have a white border. And again, it doesn't have to be a perfect circular shape. Geodes come in all shapes and sizes. I am going to go ahead and put a nice amount of water on here because I don't want to leave too much of a perfect crisp edge right inside it. I want to leave the crisp edge more on the outside there. So I'm just going to come in with some water. Not all the way, because I do want to put other colors inside it. Maybe about an inch and a half. And then I'm going to go over it again because I just want to deepen that up. I'm kind of using my arm here as a compass. So I'm just kind of keeping my arm straight and I'm just moving my wrist. And then I'll turn my page around and I'll do the same thing on the other side. Pick up a little bit more. And you can use any color you want. I'm just choosing an indigo right now because I had just done a pink, pinkish orange one. So I'm just using my arm again as a compass, just moving my wrist. And then you can go ahead and drop in. If you want, you can go ahead and just drop in little dots, or you could just go over it again, just with a nice crisp edge, darker. I like the way it looks when you do a little bit of both, just so that it doesn't look exactly the same on both sides. I'm into very organic looking paintings, that they're symmetrical, but they're not exact. So see how I did a little bit of the dots there, but I did a little bit of a straighter edge right here. Okay. All right, and then I will pick, let's see, what should we pick? Let's pick a purple. Yeah, I'll pick more of a violet. So I'm going to come in and do another circle. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. I just showed you a bunch of geodes that are not perfectly circle. But I do want to kind of keep it more of a mandala shape, which is usually circular. Not all mandalas are circle. Most are, though. And the whole process is supposed to be very meditative, creating a mandala. And it really is. And I find doing it with watercolor just enhances that feeling, because you don't really know where your paint is going to go. It just kind of moves along with wherever the water is, which is great because it kind of symbolizes life. You don't know which direction life is going to go in. Today could be completely different than tomorrow. And if it starts to bleed together, because some of my water is probably going to start puddling there. Oh, that's another thing. If you wanted to tape down your page, you could. I don't tape down my page because I do like it to buckle a little bit, because then it moves the paint around a little bit more. But if you want to tape your page down, definitely do that. To me, it just gives a little bit more movement. And I think I'm going to add this different blue right in the middle. And I am leaving a little bit of white space between my colors. I like to see them bleed together. And if I bumped them right up to each other, I wouldn't get this beautiful, like, fuzzy looking watercolor right there. That's really pretty. I'm debating if I want to just bring it in, but I'm kind of liking that circle there. And another thing I do is I layer my my paintings as well, which I'm going to show you in a minute. All right, I'm going to go ahead and deepen up my edge here. Now that it's starting to dry. There we go. Again, I'm using my arm as a compass. Now I just covered up some of my little dots that I had made before, so I'm going to drop those in again. All right. And I feel like it needs to be a little bit brighter. Now I like to push my colors. I like bright, happy paintings. If you want to use more muted down colors, natural looking, you know, maybe like muted like greens and browns and yellows, you could definitely do that. I have done some paintings like that too, which are really pretty. But I like vibrant colors. It's just what I'm drawn to. Look how pretty that's starting to dry. So it's got all that feathering looking paint, how it bled out there, and then it's a little bit darker right there. And I'm actually wanting to get that even a little darker. I'm gonna come in a little bit more. Now my page started to dry, so it is not bleeding out. So what I can do is just gently go around it with just a wet brush. There's no paint on my brush, just water, and let that bleed out a little bit. Now, I don't want to cover it up too much that it covers up all the bleeding that it had done before. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let this dry, and I'm gonna show you what I normally do after it's dry. Oh, and you can add more colors to it, more shapes, more designs, whatever. I just kept this one kind of simple because my video, I just wanted it to be a fast video for you. All right, let that dry. Okay, so I did this one this morning, and what I do is I go in and I leave a white border, and again, not a perfect circle. That's why I didn't bump it all the way up to the edge here. All right, so if you want to go ahead and, recut it and just make it look nice and sometimes, like, I don't know if you can see this, but see how it's got like a little bit of a point right there? I'll just go over it gently and very carefully and just kind of get rid of some of those pointy edges. I just want it to be as round as it can be. You can even take a little bit of sandpaper if you want to and just kind of soften your edges a little bit. I've done that before too. Let's see, there's a little point right there. Okay, so now that I've got that, I went ahead and did a whole bunch of circles the other day. And you can make them circular like this. You can go ahead and make a whole bunch of, like, just paint all over your page and then just cut out circles after it dries. So you can have some that look like that. I also have some of these that are just one color, and I just kind of dotted the paint in my water and made little circles that way. So you can make any kind of little design. Oh, look at this one. This one's really pretty. I even did some little dots in there, so that turned out really pretty. And then I make all sorts of sizes. So another thing I do is then I take all the sizes and I start gluing them together. So I painted the brown, I painted the blue, and I painted this greenish yellow color. They were all separate, and then I start gluing them together. I'll cut them out and I'll glue them together, and I'll make all these beautiful little shapes here like that. So these are all layered. So there's 1, 2, 3 shapes right on glued together there. And you can keep building them. You can even make, like even bigger and bigger and bigger if you want to. And then glue those together, which actually I did in the painting I had just showed you. So this one here, that's why I don't really care about too much in the middle, because I know that I'm going to be covering up that middle, and that looks really pretty. So what I do is I just start playing around with what I think might look really nice together. That's pretty. Ooh, I like that. That's completely different. It adds a little green in there. It almost looks like an eye. That's really pretty. All right, so I'm going to take my glue, which is where? Here. So I use my tacky glue. You can get this anywhere. And I'll put some glue right on here. And then, let's see. I'll just use my finger. You can blend it around with a paintbrush or a Q-tip. Now, if you use a paintbrush, clean it off really well. Probably don't use a good paintbrush. All right, and then I'll go ahead and place it where I want it, and then hold it for, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds. And then you're gonna want to maybe just place something heavy on top of it once you take your hand off. And I'm an antiquer. I like to go antiquing, and actually a girlfriend of mine gave this to me. It's just an antique old little iron. Look how cute that is. So, but it comes in handy because then I could just put it right on there and just wait for it to dry. Another thing, my next step, I should say, is then I take a bigger piece of paper. I'm not going to show you, it's not going to fit on my camera, but it's an 18 by 24 sheet of watercolor paper. And then I'll go ahead and place this on there and then paint around it. So let me show you my watercolor again, the one that I framed. So this is a cutout right in here. So this is a cutout, this is a cutout. I placed it all on top of each other. Then I took a big piece of paper, or bigger, this is not 18 by 24. I think this is a 16 by 20. But anyways, I took a different piece of paper and I did little circles, more cutouts in the background. And I did some line work and some more watercolors. I even did, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a metallic gold watercolor, which is really pretty. So I'm starting to make these beautiful paintings like this. So I know I'm having a great time making all these mandala looking shapes. I just didn't know what I wanted to do with them, and then it just clicked into my head, just put it together as a really beautiful painting and frame it, and that's what I did. So like I said, if you want to go ahead, just this morning I went ahead and posted about 5 or 6 of my paintings, my finished paintings that I've already framed, so you can go back and look at those if you want to. All right, well, I hope you liked the video. It's just a quick little video. I wanted to show you what I'm doing lately. And if you did like it, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you can, and you can also make a comment. Let me know if you like videos like this one. I'll keep making them for you. All right, have a great day. Bye.